A record number of voters have cast their ballots in Hungary's key election, which could potentially reshape the country's relations with the EU, Moscow and Washington. The United States and Iran failed to reach an agreement on peace and a ceasefire in the ongoing Middle East conflict after a historic face-to-face talks in Islamabad.
During an evening prayer, Pope Leo XIV called for an end to idolatry, money, power and war.
Hungarian elections polled a strong record morning turnout as polls got underway on Sunday, and some 7.5 million people were expected to cast their ballot. Prime Minister Viktor Orban, president of the ruling Fidesz party, cast his vote in Buda Sunday morning and expressed delight with the voter turnout. Peter Magyar, chairman of the Tisza party, the largest and only opposition party in Hungary with a chance of forming a government, also cast his ballot in Buda. Magyar said a potential record turnout and a smooth, fair election would favor his party's victory.
Hogyha ez a választás nyugodtan, törvényesen lezajlik, akkor ezt a választást a Tisza és ezzel Magyarország meg fogja nyerni.
According to data from the National Election Office, some 900 registered foreign observers are monitoring the parliamentary polls, the biggest electoral challenge yet for Prime Minister Orban.
These are the final hours of the election campaign in Hungary. Voters will go to the polls on Sunday to elect their new parliament. The election pits the outgoing Prime Minister Viktor Orban against Peter Magyar, the opposition's leading figure. Viktor Orban has been leading the country for 16 years. The wear and tear of power, the deteriorating economic situation, and a series of government scandals coming to light make this election the Prime Minister's greatest electoral challenge. Tisza party, founded 2 years ago by Peter Magyar, currently leads in opinion polls ahead of Orban's Fidesz party.
The United States and Iran have failed to reach an agreement at the end of a historic face-to-face talks in Pakistan's capital, Islamabad. Vice President J.D. Vance, who led the U.S. delegation, said the talks lasted 21 hours, but in the end, they did not see an affirmative commitment from Iran that they will not seek a nuclear weapon.
The bad news is that we have not reached an agreement, and I think that's bad news for Iran much more than it's bad news for the United States of America. So we go back to the United States having not come to an agreement. We've made very clear what our red lines are, what things we're willing to accommodate them on, and what things we're not willing to accommodate them on. And we've made that as clear as we possibly could, and they have chosen not to accept our terms.
According to Iranian media, the three-party talks began after Iranian preconditions, including a reduction in Israeli strikes on southern Lebanon. Despite the outcome, which leaves uncertainty over a fragile 2-week ceasefire, Pakistan's Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar said it was imperative that the parties continue to uphold their commitment to a ceasefire in the war.
Pope Leo XIV denounced the delusion of omnipotence that is powering the US-Israel war on Iran during an evening prayer at St. Peter's Basilica on Saturday. The pontiff urged political leaders to stop and engage in peace processes. As leaders have used religion to defend their actions in the war, Leo has said that God does not support any war, especially wars where bombs are dropped.
Fratelli e sorelle, chi prega ha coscienza del proprio limite, non uccide e non minaccia la morte. Basta con l'idolatria di se stessi e del denaro. Basta con l'esibizione della forza. Basta con la guerra.
Pope Leo XIV did not mention the US or its President Trump. However, his tone and message appeared directed at US officials. The US military watchdog Military Religious Freedom Foundation said in March it had received over 200 complaints from service members claiming commanders used extremist Christian rhetoric to justify the war against Iran.